Are you buying a home and are concerned that methamphetamine may have been used or manufactured in your house? Are you a landlord who suspects that meth was used or manufactured in your rental property? Today we're going to go over 1. The dangers of meth residue in your home, 2. How to test for it, 3. How to remediate it, right now. Hi everyone. While I've been a realtor in the Salt Lake area since 2005, I'm definitely not a qualified meth inspector. However, many of my buyers have had meth tests done during their due diligence period, so I'm somewhat experienced in the process of meth testing and remediation. Recently, I spoke with the good folks at Pillar to Post Home Inspections to get their insight on what I should show you today. What is meth? So methamphetamine, also called meth, ice, crystal, glass, speed, chalk, is a highly addictive, man-made drug that stimulates the pleasure section of the brain. Meth has been used as a stimulant for several decades. In more recent years, however, the use has surged as the purity has increased, resulting in intense highs. Meth exposure can cause insomnia, irritability, aggressive behavior, disorganized thoughts, and inability to cope with everyday problems. Meth can damage blood vessels in the brain, causing strokes, and meth also harms important nerve pathways, perhaps irreversibly. Now, there's a big difference between living in a home where somebody smoked meth and living in a home in which they manufactured meth. Symptoms: irritation of the mucous membranes, skin irritations, chest pain, abdominal pains, adverse effects in the central nervous system, dark-colored urine, rapid heart rate, yellow jaundice, fever, hallucinations. Okay, so what are we seeing in the housing industry? Typically, we see 2 types of meth contamination in certain homes. Obviously, the heavy contamination if it's a lab, and less contamination for people who were just smoking meth in the home. Now, there have been fewer instances of meth labs in Utah than before. As a matter of fact, KSL News said that the latest data showed that there were 107 labs in 2004, and it dropped to just 1 reported meth lab in 2014. However, the use of meth has actually increased. So how can you test your home? If you want to check your own home, you can purchase a drug residue detection test from Amazon or Walmart for about $30. But I was concerned about that, so I checked in with the website of AEI Decontamination Center, and they said that there are several kits available for at-home and instant testing. However, in their experience, they were generally inaccurate. They saw that these tests gave false positives and false negatives, even when they retested the very same spot. That's why organizations like the health department won't even accept results from these types of tests. It was also worth mentioning that you'll probably have to follow up with a lab test no matter what the reading you receive. So testing. Testing can be done by home inspectors or certified decontamination companies, and tests are not 100% conclusive. Swabs are taken of a 100 centimeter square area, and that is tested to the level of contamination. There are 2 types of tests. One is called composite testing, where they're testing several areas, and one is called single location, somewhere like the furnace. As a matter of fact, the furnace seems to be one of the best places to check because you have air going in and out throughout the house going through the furnace. The furnace would give you a good idea of the levels around the home, but not a whole lot of information where specifically it needs to be contaminated. The Utah Department of Health recommends that if you have a test score of 1.1 and above, you should talk to a remediation company. Companies that do meth decontamination must be certified by the state of Utah. You can check online for lists of properties determined to be currently contaminated, and that's available on the health department websites. These companies must register the property with the health department, which oversees the cleanup. Once the health department has determined that a property is cleaned, it is removed from the list. So what is meth remediation? The safest way to clean up a former meth lab is to hire an environmental company trained in hazardous waste removal and cleanup. Here are the typical steps that they go through. They air out the property. They remove all the contaminated material, curtains, furniture, etc. They clean all surfaces. They check the HVAC system, furnaces, air conditioning, etc. They check plumbing and septic systems. They detergent wash, and then they take samples after detox to determine effectiveness. When they're repainting, they use an oil-based paint, epoxy, or polyurethane primer, then the paint. So here's the process when you're buying a home. So typically when you're buying a home, the home inspector will have additional services beyond the normal home inspection. These are often radon, meth, and mold inspections. Meth tests usually cost about $150 and take about an hour to complete. The swabs are sent to a lab and the results are received in approximately 4 to 5 days. During your due diligence period, you should always have your home inspected by a professional home inspector. If you're having a meth test done, your inspector will bring a meth test kit to the home and do the test in about an hour. Be sure to let your realtor know that you plan to have a meth test so that he can tell the listing agent. Also, make sure to have your testing done early in your due diligence period so that you can get the results in time to negotiate any inspection repairs or meth remediation before your due diligence deadline. Remember, the lab test can take 5 days to get back to you. If the results are above 1.1, the buyer has several choices. They can cancel for due diligence, they can negotiate with the seller to have part or all the remediation costs paid by the seller, or the buyer may decide to continue the purchase and handle the remediation later. It's really difficult to determine the cost of meth remediation. Multiple rooms typically cost $3,000 above. If the home was used as a meth lab, the cost to remediate could be much, much higher. Feel free to contact me and I can give you a list of quality home inspectors that I've used in the past. And be sure to watch my video on getting a home inspection and radon and mold testing. Thanks, and please contact me with any questions. Have a great day.